feel that car started up. You know, it's like when you try to, it's like when you get in that car, you haven't drove it in so long, and then you get in there, you don't know if it's gonna start, and then you go, and you're like, yo, you almost started, and you turn it again, and then you finally, right? Then it finally start up, but that don't mean that it's ready to go down a quarter mile at 120 miles per hour. That means it's started. That means now that the motor and the engine is kicked on and turned over, now it's time to check for leaks, right? You changed all the gaskets, you changed all the piston rings that you fried, and you got everything fixed up and ready to go again. So now you got to see if the motor's running properly. You got to see what kind of oil you need to put in there. Personally, I grew up and raised around car heads, so I'm putting Royal Purple in my motor. And then you got to make sure, you know, you got the gas tank filled. What kind of gas you gonna put in there? I'm talking about the body. I'm talking about the body. I'm not just talking about the flesh. I'm talking about the body that you exist in, not the, the skin and bones and the muscles that you're trying to build and whatever, right? You got to make sure you're doing it for a long haul, not just for right now and then you'll get out, right? Because if you do it for right now, what about later, right? My father always used to tell me, you spend all your money now and then you don't think about tomorrow. You eat all the food now and then you don't think about tomorrow. You won't save half the pizza for until tomorrow, because we used to get the 555 deal. Me and my stepsister and my sister used to get a pizza, and I guess it was like perfect. Like that's the welcome in, welcome in. We talking about the body, right? And you might feel like when you're trying to get it started and you're trying to get your body going and you're trying to get yourself in that, if you want to start a routine, if you want to change your life and live healthy, if you want to change, certain habits that you got in your life, right? We're talking about when you get into that car and you try to start it up and it don't quite kick over just yet. You got to keep turning the key, and you keep turning the key. Sometimes you got to pump the gas for it too, right? You get some, you let the oil pump some oil into the motor, right? Let the motor get all lubricated, right? You press the gas, you get some gas into the pistons, you get the car fired up, and then you finally get it started. But then you feel like, you go, let's say you start a new gym, right? And you start a new exercise, and you feel like, damn, that shit kicked my ass today. I don't know if I'm gonna go tomorrow. That's okay. Don't go tomorrow. That's yourself, right? That's your astral body telling you, you know, maybe the car is not ready to fully start yet because you got a little bit of energy leaking out this side, or you got a couple people pulling on you this way, and you still in your head thinking what you should do. So when you in your head thinking what you should do, you're draining energy because it takes a lot of imagination to think about what you should do, and then think about all the things that can go wrong, and then think about all the things that can go right, and think about every single what if, and think about every single who, what, when, where, why, and how. So when you rest your body and you give yourself that time to let that car start up and kick over, when it kicks over, it's gonna start up. But then you gotta make sure there's no leaks anywhere. You gotta make sure there's no leaks anywhere. And when you make sure there's no leaks, then you can focus on getting that royal purple into that motor. Then you think about getting that 92 plus or whatever the heck the type of gas. I don't have a car, so I don't know what type of gas they got, right? But I know it's like super and supremium or whatever, right? You get the premium, you put that premium stuff into your body. And when you're able to get up without any alarms, when you're able to get out of your bed without any alarms, when you're able to open your eyes without any alarms, when a dream is able to kick your ass out your sleep, when a dream is able to kick you out the dream world and you come back into the waking world and you're seeing, wow, oh shit, you know, I'm a little tired. I think I might want to go back to bed, but let's just sit up for a second, right? And then when you sit up for that second and you just let your eyes stay low, let your eyes stay low, like you're still asleep, like you're still in the dream world, like you're still in your bed laying down, but you're sitting down and you're just letting your eyes chill, right? You're leaning forward, you're not touching your phone, you're not touching no light, you're not touching the TV, you're not touching the music, nothing. You're just sitting there with your eyes low like this, right? And you might even doze off for a little bit, but that's the start of the 20 minutes, right? That's the start of the 20 minutes of you getting your body into that tune so you could kick that key in there. Sometimes you don't even have to kick the key in there. You just press a button or you just automatically get up. You say your name and the car start, right? Switching lane to lanes like Walmart. I'm quoting Rick Ross right now. Out in Bordeaux, sitting Bordeaux. Hazard lights flashing on the 4-door, right? Welcome in, right? So when you finally start putting that stuff into your body that you need, and you get up out of your dreams and you just let your body sit on the edge of the bed and just relax over, right? You're gonna start not only remembering your dreams, you're gonna have that plan that you went into the dream world and got. You're gonna get that plan that you went to heaven and got when your spirit and your soul was roaming. Because when we go to sleep, our souls, it starts traveling around the universe, believe it or not, right? Because you're not, if that doesn't happen, then let's just say God comes in and speaks to you in your dream, right? So boom, you're laying in your bed, your soul don't go nowhere, but believe it or not, your soul goes everywhere, right? So you get that dream and then you come back. But usually we forget our dreams because we jump out of the bed and we grab our phones. We jump out of the bed, we put the music on. We jump out of the bed, we put the TV on. Anything to distract us from dealing with us. Anything that we can do to distract us from dealing with us. Anything that you can do to distract us from dealing with us, we're gonna do that. And we're gonna forget about the car. We're gonna forget about the vehicle. We're gonna forget that there was a dream that we just had that we were supposed to do today that we didn't get to write down and put in a journal. It's not no book that we're about to go publish. There's not no scheme or no scam that we're about to go get rich quick scheme. No, it's nothing like that. It's something that we can build, that we can potentially hand to our children in the future. But first, it's gonna start with us. We got to be a little bit selfish when it comes to us, because if we don't focus on us, there's not going to be a tomorrow. That's when they say there is no tomorrow, because you're not studying yourself today. You're not focused on your health today. You're going to focus on your health tomorrow. You're going to focus on your health when you're 55. You're going to focus on your health when you're 65. You're going to focus on your health when you hurt yourself. You're going to focus on your health when you finally go to the doctor and you hold in your chest and you can't breathe. You're going to finally focus on that vehicle, and you're going to finally focus on health, and you're going to finally focus on fixing yourself when you can't get out of the bed, when you can't get up and sit on the edge of the bed. You actually got to stay laying in the bed, and somebody got to come hold you by your head and bring you up like you a little baby, right? You're gonna then think about fixing yourself when you get to an age where you can't shit. So you gotta have somebody come and massage your belly and massage your back. So you gotta sit on the toilet while somebody tapping you on your back, on your stomach. So then you could get that backed up shit out of your system. You gotta focus on that now. We gotta be selfish now so we can be selfless later for the children, right? I remember my father was in his 40s beating me in a race because he was always taking care of his body. I'm only healthy because my father had to be a father and a mother. My father is a single parent for 32 years and counting, right? So for me and and he has a daughter. So having a daughter and a son, he had to be father and mom, but he didn't have that he had that family foundation with a whole bunch of, like, I have a whole bunch of aunties and I got like a few uncles, but I got way more aunties and female cousins that I do male uncles and male cousins. So my family is predominantly female. It's predominantly feminine. So when I was a baby, I had a whole lot of females around me. So my father didn't really have to do too much on the female side. But when we moved to this country, right, and even still when we were in Trinidad, he still had to be that dual parent, right? He still had to do both, right? So when you focus and you're healthy and you focus on health, your children are going to focus on health. I can sit there and give a child some broccoli or some type of healthy thing that don't have that sweet pheromones or that good smell that they like, sugar and salt, and I can see the child, screw his face up. And I'm speaking because I seen a video. His name is Bully Juice, right? And no, not Bully Juice. It was this random dude. He took his son out to the steakhouse, and he had broccoli. He told his son, "You want some broccoli?" His son grabbed one, and he grabbed one. He looked. His son, like, his face was like, he didn't like it, but he took a bite. His son seen him took a bite like it was nothing. Didn't even realize he made that face before that he didn't like it. But if a child sees you doing something, even if you don't like it, and it's healthy, and the child's gonna need it, and it's gonna have that iron, and it's gonna have that, that stuff that make the child poop and make the child's poop a little bit solid, not just flood like freaking the River Jordan, then the child's gonna eat it. The child's gonna do what the child see you do. So we gotta take care of ourselves now. We gotta be selfish now. We gotta take care of that vehicle now, so that in the future we don't have to worry about taking care of ourselves, because we got that blueprint. We already did the basics. We did the basics for about 5-10 years. It only takes 2 years of good eating and proper exercise for you to go 20 years with no exercise and no proper eating, right? But then after that 20-year mark, up until like the 15-year mark, do another 2 years of exercising, so then you could go into your 40s and you don't have to worry about doing it so much. You'll still be wondering, look, I'm eating all this food, but you'll be drinking water. You'll be mindful about your portions. You'll be mindful about how much of that stuff that you take in on the day-to-day basis. You might be 2 burgers a day guy, and then you turn into 1.5 burger a day guy or girl, and then you go to 1 burger a day guy or girl, and then you go to half a burger a day guy or girl, and then now you don't eat burgers. You just take some fries, and then you might take a soda because something sweet, right? But you're not overdoing it. You're drinking your water. You're being mindful, and now you're feeling so good. You might go get 2 burgers and still feel good. And then you'd be like, wow, I feel good for a whole week. I feel good for a whole 2 weeks. I don't need another burger for a month. And that's how your body is gonna let you know we're elevated. We've evolved, right? We've became, right? Because you already became all that toxic shit, right? And then you evolved from all that toxic shit, right? And then after you evolve from all that toxic shit, you accepted the fact that you evolved from all that toxic shit. And after you evolve from all that toxic shit, you're able to embrace the new you. You're able to embrace your new evolution. You're able to embrace the you that you've cultivated for all that time. You're able to hit that save button on that check mark, on that checkpoint in that video game where you're building all the accolades and you're getting all the proper armor, you're getting all the jewels, you're getting all the fancy cars in Grand Theft Auto. You got the mansion up on the hill, and then you got a trap house in the hood, and then you got 15 cars in this garage, and then you got a garage downtown that got 25 cars in it, and then you got a trap house with about 15 cars in it, and then you got motorcycles parked outside. You got the whole gang outside with it, and you just feeling good because why? You were selfish today. You thought about tomorrow today. You thought about how you were gonna exist in 10 years today. You thought about how you were gonna exist 50 years from now today. You thought about what you're gonna do with your life today. I made up my mind when I was 19 that I wasn't gonna continue working for somebody else to be rich. So I'm gonna go forward working for myself. And I'm going to go forward taking in all this knowledge and cultivating all this knowledge. And when I get to a certain point in a certain age in a certain phase in my life, I'll be able to run the whole motherfucker. Understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave y'all right there with that. That was good. That was some soul food right there. We just had some soul food. You gotta lick your lips. You gotta lick your lips when you're done with this one. You gotta lick your lips after this one. Some soul food. That's what you need. A little bit of what you want. Not too much indulgence because we want to be here. But I know y'all gonna have an amazing tomorrow by having a great today. Sweet dreams.